Well, here we go. All the DreamWorks movies, 43 in total. I tried to watch as many of them as I could. The pain. Just to start things off with a fairly uncontroversial choice, we have Kung Fu Panda, which I'm putting at an A. I personally don't find Po's character to be that interesting. Such great fight scenes. The animation, the way they storyboarded it, they're exciting, they're varied. There's a sequence on a bridge that is just kind of jaw-dropping. But then there's a fight scene at the very, very end. I guess it's for the kiddies. It's just way too cheesy. It doesn't really make sense. There's just kind of niggles here and there, but overall, I love this movie.
You? Him? He's a panda. You're a panda. What are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me?
Down to the other end of the spectrum was a movie I saw for the first time for this video, and that is Shark Tale. This is getting an F. The animation and the humor are god-awful. First of all, don't try to make a fish sexy. Please don't. It's really unfunny. The puns are endless. It's moving so fast, and I thought, we're gotta be 20 minutes in, like everything's set up. And then I checked the runtime, and there was like 20 minutes left. What? What happened to the movie? My chat is already talking about these sexual prospects of these different fish characters. All you need to be kink-shamed. The only redeeming quality about Shark Tale is there's one sequence where a shrimp is pleading for his life for like 5 minutes straight, telling his life story. And I don't know why, maybe I was just losing my mind because the movie is so atrocious, but I was just dying laughing.
I still take care of it with my wife, and it's growing, and it's fairly happy, and it's difficult because I've been working a second shift at the factory to put food on the table.
Turbo. I'm not going to talk about this one for too much because, quite honestly, there's not much to talk about. I'm giving it a C. Someone wrote the concept on a napkin at a strip bar somewhere. Hey, a snail, but it's fast. It didn't make me laugh, but it didn't make me cringe. Antz. Okay. It seems obvious that whoever made this movie didn't realize that Woody Allen, the only reason why you don't want to curb stomp him every minute he's on screen is because of great dialogue and great shot composition. In an animated film where the jokes suck, he's just a blubbering mess. It's a little gross visually and during some specific sequences like the termites. I don't really know who this movie is for. Shrek, S. It is one of those movies that it does hold up. Essentially started as a big lampooning of Disney, and it did such a good job. It was edgy, but not too edgy. Considering how much I kind of detest Disney now because of all these needless and poorly made remakes, it's kind of fun to see an animated movie from the early 2000s just be a big fuck you to an entire company. It's a great movie. It's funny as hell. They managed to make a character like Donkey who should have been very obnoxious adorable. I don't know how they did that, but they found a way to make that work. The emotions that it reaches for are earned, and for the time, the animation works quite well.
Magic mirror.
Don't tell him anything!
I might catch some heat for this because there's a sizable population of people who think Shrek 2 is better than Shrek 1. I actually understand where they're coming from. The animation is better. There's some sequences that are just gut-bustingly hilarious. So I'm going to give it an A. I still love this movie. I just don't think it's as good as the first one. I think there's a few too many characters. As fun as Prince Charming and the fairy godmother are, it really feels like they have too much screen time. Like they're not stealing the movie, they're hogging it. I'm gonna grab Shrek the Third. I'm gonna probably put it at D. Justin Timberlake's character is extremely obnoxious. Felt like it was just spinning its wheels. It's that old expression of throwing shit at the wall until something sticks. Shrek Forever After, I'm gonna give a C. They cram in a pop song every chance they get. They have no restraint. It just feels like an ad. The plot is It's a Wonderful Life, and even by the time this movie came out, that was done to death. The only reason the Pied Piper's in the movie to further cram more pop songs into it. It was like Hotel Transylvania, the way they would just awkwardly cut to a pop song. That being said, I liked Rumpelstiltskin a lot. I think the voice actor did a good job. It's just so hilariously evil.
So we all put an end to our daughter's curse?
And in return, you sign the kingdom of far, far away over to me.
Rise of the Guardians. I didn't see it. You didn't see it. I'm only human. I ran out of time. Penguins. For me, and we'll get to the Madagascar films, don't worry. For me, the penguins are the best part of the Madagascar films, for sure. They're both very capable and very stupid. I feel like producers and writers should really understand that the reason the sidekick is so great in the movie is not in spite of their short amount of screen time, but because of their short amount of screen time. You want more, but you don't need more. Benedict Cumberbatch was on the Graham Norton show, and he revealed that he cannot pronounce the word penguins properly. He screwed up in the nature documentary, and I guess as a joke, he was cast in the Penguins movie, and he cannot pronounce the word penguins at all. It's so wrong, and I'm watching the movie like, how did no one catch this?
Like penguins.
Peabody, didn't see it. Life is Short. Bad Guys has that kind of comic book type feel from like Into the Spider-Verse, for example. Voice acting's for the most part strong. The comedy's just not there, and the theming is terrible. I get it. You're a bad guy and you want to be a good guy, but the bad guys you're with want to stay as bad. Like, oh my god, they hit you over the head with that theme, and this film is clearly meant for a somewhat older audience. I don't understand why they had to talk to us like we're stupid. I'm giving it a C. Monsters, Aliens, C. I think the action scenes are really weak. It's just slow and laborious. Do you know your movie has a problem when Seth Rogen's character is the funniest one?
I mean, I've been in prison my whole life. But I'm in prison. Oh, I didn't mean to scare you. Oh, I'm just gonna go. Oh, I feel so stupid.
Megamind. This is going to hurt some people. I have to also give this one a C. I do think it's better than some of these, though. I'm gonna, like, reorganize all these at the end. I think the voice acting is pretty good. I think the sidekick character is useless. I love Brad Pitt in it. There's some really good animation, not only with these really expansive and exciting flying sequences, but also the facial expressions. Top 5 cutest babies in film history. One of them is in this movie. Yeah, so there's great stuff in it, especially visually, but I hate to repeat myself. It's a comedy movie that's just not very funny. A lot of it is Will Ferrell just kind of shouting. Tina Fey's character has nothing funny to say. They needed someone to polish this script. Kung Fu Panda 2. In some ways, it's better than Kung Fu Panda 1. The animation is breathtaking. I love how many different kinds of animation they used. I wondered why there weren't more fight sequences with the peacock, but then I looked it up and I found out that it was just too hard. he was so hard to animate. Gary Oldman does a great job with the voice. Here's the problem, and here's why I'm giving Kung Fu Panda a B. A very high B. The comedy kind of blows.
You guys see that? It's called being awesome.
My fist hungers for justice. That was my fist.
Physical comedy that's not very funny. There's way too many characters. It's like they tried to find every actor under the sun and cram them in the movie. So you have characters who just don't have anything to do. Monkey has like 2 lines in the entire film. It's like, why even include them? My chat is lighting up as I expected. It irked me. It did. You'd have a great scene and then a terrible or most times lazy joke would pull it right down. I also think the bloated cast is a huge problem. Kung Fu Panda 3, just something about the villain that it seemed like villain of the week. The plot was so dull. I have to give this a D, and I can't believe I'm doing that. It's probably more fair to give it a C, but I kind of hate it. I'm watching the film and I just think, I don't give a shit about anything that's happening. Krakatoa could have exploded and wiped them all out with a tidal wave, and I wouldn't have cared. They also were much less experimental with the animation, which is what made the second movie in particular so entertaining. Home. Has anyone else seen Home? Who else suffered through this piece of shit? The movies I hate the most are movies that don't feel like movies. Home is a Rihanna commercial. The reason really it's getting an F is because the story is terrible, and this alien creature here is just as annoying as he looks. He's horrible. He is a tumor. I despise him. I want to run him over with my car. The amount of violence I feel. I'm such a pacifist, and I want to put him on a medieval torture rack. I hate this movie so much. Croods. This was a very up and down kind of movie for me. The voice acting is mixed. I think Emma Stone, I thought she was great. Nicolas Cage, super miscast. I'm gonna give it a C. Kind of just a loose collection of set pieces. Even though like the world is about to end, I felt like there were no stakes. Captain Underpants. Everyone was wrong. The older principal sounds too young. The young kids sound too old. No one suits their character. The lines they're delivering aren't funny, and they're not delivering them in a funny way. It's not the worst movie ever, but it's so mid. Trolls has some beautiful animation. You really feel like you can reach out and actually kind of brush a lot of these things. It's wonderful to look at. The problem is, in this world, there are shitty pop songs. I don't know what's worse, the pop covers from Trolls, or like any given Zack Snyder film. Trolls gets a D. I mean, it's a musical with bad music. Boss Baby. I heard terrible things about Boss Baby, but I was enjoying the first act. Actually, there's a lot of funny commentary on capitalism and workplace structure, on middle management. There's a whole montage about how babies are created in this factory kind of setting. I'm liking this a lot. And then they ran out of ideas. It's so by the numbers. It really let me down. The plot needed to be as creative as the concept, and it just wasn't. All right, Madagascar, hold on. Where do I even start? Madagascar is a fucking F. The first one's animation is hideous. Really hasn't aged well. Ugh, it's like gag-inducing looking at some of these characters and how they're designed. I think I hate Ben Stiller. He's usually the worst part of every movie he's in. He sucks. He has one shtick, and that's to be neurotic. Seeing that coupled with this really frantic animation, it's a migraine. You know what else is also gross to look at and really not funny? Fucking Madagascar 2, which I'll put at a D. I'll be a little kind to it because there's a couple scenes that kind of made me laugh. I was really not expecting an incest joke.
Gently now, you just want to kiss the ground. Just a little peck, a smooch like you're kissing your sister.
The same way an action scene uses a lot of cuts to cover up for the fact that the fight choreography is bad, comedies like this use like a lot of hyperactive editing to cover up the fact that the jokes aren't funny. Madagascar 3, I'm actually torn. First of all, the animation is miles better. And number two, so they decided to just go hog wild. This movie is insane. It's so crazy and colorful and vivid that I have to give it credit. I mean, it made me laugh. There's a bad circus sequence, like the worst circus you've ever seen, and you kind of feel like you're losing your mind.
Who's from Cincinnati?
It's so wacky, but it does its wackiness better than I thought it would.
Well, that was worth the price of admission.
B movie also gets a C, but a much lower C. It's not every day you see a full-grown man get cucked by a bee. Saying that, I mean, the bee puns. Oh, God. Over the Hedge, one of the ones I didn't watch. First Puss in Boots movie. I was really surprised at this one in that it wasn't very good. It has stunning animation, and the cast is great. I just found myself really uninvested in the story. For all of like the flying and running and jumping, I was kind of bored. Sinbad gets a C. An adventure film that doesn't feel very adventurous. I'd recommend Treasure Planet if you want this kind of massive scale adventure film for kids with some CGI. The animation they did on the Goddess of Discord is phenomenal. The basic design of her, how she moved and morphed, it's pretty mediocre apart from that. Abominable. I'm probably going to give it a B. That might be a little generous. All right. Slight adjust. Zooming out a bit. It's a very cute story. It has very creative animation. There's a psychic character that kind of talks like this, and I wanted to punt him across the room. There's a really pretty scene where the main character is doing a duet with the Abominable Snowman. I listened to that like 3 times in a row. I like some Coldplay, but if you want to ruin a beautiful moment that has like a little bit of subtlety, it's a little bit restrained, just turn into like a 3-minute music video with Coldplay just screeching in the background, camera moving around. It's so fucking over the top and unnecessary. Really left a bad taste in my mouth. How to Train Dragon 1 gets B. I think that this is definitely the worst of the three. Parts of it feel a little bit careful, a little safe. The main character is, of course, the dorky misfit who isn't the son that his dad wants. And then you have like all these supporting characters who aren't really very funny. However, flying sequences are great. The last action scene is actually thrilling. Gerard Butler, man, I mean, he really sold that character of the father. How to Train Dragon 2, which I'm also giving a B. This is actually my favorite of the three. First of all, it's sad. I sat up straighter in my chair, like my eyes kind of popped out once the mother character shows up. Kate Blanchett does such a great job.
He's your age! Wow. No wonder you get along so well. Retractable teeth.
I think the villain is a little obnoxious. He does this war cry thing, which I've heard was actually a contribution by the actor. After like the 7th time he does it, I'm just like, just shut your mouth. just this. I think the biggest improvement was the main character, Hiccup. He's got some confidence. He's charting courses and creating maps. He's got some balls. You're watching him grow up into a man. Yeah, fuck it. I'll do it. I'll give it an A. And then 3, which I'm going to give a B. I thought the romance angle between the dragons was going to be very cringeworthy, but it was fine. It felt like the way animals would act in the wild. The epilogue feels like the epilogue in the Harry Potter movies. No one likes that epilogue from Harry Potter, and I didn't like the epilogue here. It should have been cut. That being said, yes, the villain in this movie is great. He's like what Elon Musk thinks he is.
You've never seen anything like me.
Trolls movie, I did not watch. Flushed away, you might as well flush this one away. It's a D. It's boring. I'm going to do these two in pairs, Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run. Both are getting a B. The similar claymation style animation, very cute, very funny at points. At the beginning of Wallace and Gromit, I knew I was going to like the movie because they chart their relationship through photographs. Both what's in the photo and how they're framed explains like kind of like this rise and fall of their trajectory as pals. Chicken Run, it's very adorable. I think I like it more because it just has a bit more energy to it. I didn't notice any lags. I think the voice acting is great. Mel Gibson, pitch perfect in this role. Prince of Egypt is getting an A. The animation is great. Gorgeous movie. When I'm talking about something like a movie being beautiful or well animated, it's not just the actual quality, it's what they do with it. And this movie is so creative with its animation. There's a nightmare sequence that's all done using hieroglyphics. The restricted nature of it makes the violence more disturbing. I almost want to leave the room because it's so upsetting. Road to El Dorado, I would give it an A for its comedy because it's fucking hilarious. Oh my god, I'm so torn because I don't think the plot is really that great. It's probably the funniest DreamWorks movie, though. There is a very blatant blowjob joke in the movie. Really good voice acting. Villain had a great voice. Very intense. I'll leave it at A for now because it made me crack up.
There it is! Well, nice doing business with you.
I knew it! Your dice are loaded!
Croods, the sequel, didn't watch it. What's really strange about this is that these two movies, Spirit and Spirit Untamed, came out like 20 years apart. The weirdest part is they're such different movies. The animation is completely different, the plots are totally different, and the protagonist is different. Spirit gets some props for being so kind of out there, almost like a nature documentary. The horse doesn't speak. This movie is really held back by Matt Damon's narration. You think the Blade Runner narration is bad? Holy shit, Matt Damon sounds like he just got off a cot and they threw a mic in front of his face and he just started reading from like a notebook. I guess when the film gets bored, it breaks into, again, a music video. I have to give it a D because I think it's kind of unwatchable. And the sequel, I'm giving a C. Although I miss the more hand-drawn animation, I think it's better. She has two companions, and they're also really interesting characters. They're fun, they have a good camaraderie. All the three girls are very distinct, a little dull. It's a little long. There's not much sense of tension. Wall-E did it better. Wall-E did everything better. Wall-E is better than, I would argue, all of these movies. All right, we're almost there. Oh my God, we're almost there. Boss Baby sequel. This is the last movie I did not watch, partly because since the first Boss Baby burned me so bad, stick it in your diaper. I'm not wasting my time with you. And last is Puss in Boots 2 or Puss in Boots The Last Wish. I think over all the DreamWorks movies, this movie did the best job at balancing the drama and the comedy. I mean, it is seamless how a scene can make you laugh and then a minute later have you just kind of holding your chest. Using this new animated style, which I think was a step in the right direction. The continued great voice acting, especially the voice acting of the newcomers for the villains. I could go on for hours about this. Puss in Boots The Last Wish is my personal favorite DreamWorks movie. Their peaks, as far as I'm concerned, is Shrek and Puss in Boots.
There's the famous hat, the feather, and of course, the boots. My compliments to your cobbler.
Thanks. Good to meet you, too.
Comparing this to my other tier list, which is Pixar, Pixar felt like kind of a slow decline. They had this great streak, and then they got lazy. With DreamWorks, it's just been a consistently bumpy ride. There's a lot in the C category. There's a lot of coasting and unnecessary sequels, cribbing from Pixar, and delivering really lackluster execution because they get so bogged down with the noise, with the music, with the celebrities, and not focusing on the emotion. And when they do, they can nail it. Do I order my Fs? Yeah, Home's the fucking worst. There. Yeah, Shark Tale, you're the best F. Congratulations.